Hello, everyone. I'm Herschel Franklin. I'm reading a book that I wrote back in 2009. It's entitled One Dog's Story. It's it's a book about a dog that I had. Um, she lived with me for 15 years before passing on, and she is a wonderful dog. I truly loved that dog, and I think she truly loved me. I've told the story of why I wrote the book, and I shan't be continuing that. But I will tell you again that as I read these chapters, when I say the dog story, that is telling the story as Murphy may have remembered it. When I start with the human story, that's telling the story as I remembered it. Chapter 6, A Day with the Doctor. The dog story. I spent the rest of the day outside getting to know the backyard. It wasn't as large as I first thought. It had a worn look like you see when a large dog lives there. Humans often don't realize that dogs are just like other animals. When they are confined to a smaller area, they walk the same paths and generally cause wear and tear on a lawn. Humans try to grow flowers where they require us to live. They water them and care for them, and the beds smell good and are cool. In fact, on a hot day, the cool, moist flower bed is often the only place we can find relief from the heat. Just like chewing things is the way we find relief from the many hours of boredom we face each day. Humans do not seem to realize how much boredom we really face. Our nature is to wonder and explore. We are a naturally curious animal. That's probably why our eyesight, our hearing, and even in our sense of smell have developed so well. We're curious and enjoy learning new things, but our lives have developed into a supporting role for humans. We depend on them and don't mind what has become basically a secondary role to them. But when they confine us to a small area, one we have already explored so often and so thoroughly, and in which there is nothing new to discover or learn, we get bored. They go off to something they call work and leave us alone with nothing different and no challenges for hour after hour. Perhaps they never heard the old adage we dogs have, an idle mind is the devil's playground. Sometimes we misbehave. Boredom has become a real problem for the modern dog. When humans see their yard being worn by two large dogs living in it, 24 hours a day, I might add, they need to go inside and see what they are doing to their own homes. Does their carpet wear out? Of course it does. Do they ever need to replace their furniture because it gets a worn look? Yes. Do they ever have to repaint the walls? Of course. So it's not just the yard that gets worn. It is the inside of the house as well. Humans cause wear and tear, and they shouldn't be surprised to see how much we dogs also cause wear and tear on their lawns. Early one morning, my human took me to the doctor and left me there all day. I didn't know why I was there because I felt just fine. My human had taken me there once before, and they poked me and felt me and looked in my eyes and my mouth and then stuck needles in me. They called them shots. I growled, but they just kept hold of my neck and went ahead with what they were doing. My human said it was for my own good, but I kept growling. He leaned down close to my right ear and he said, "Dog, if you ever bite me, I'll likely have you put to sleep. Any dog that'll bite his master will bite anyone, and we can't have a biting dog. Okay, I thought. Since you put it that way, I'll let you do it this one time. But I wasn't going to forget that master remark. That's just not the way I saw this relationship, and we were going to have to get beyond that. This time, my human left me there all day. Like I said, I didn't feel sick at all. Still, I was taken in to see the doctor, and again he had those blasted needles. And again they stuck one in me. It hurt, but not much and not for long. And no sooner had they done it than I started getting sleepy. I tried to stay awake. I had just slept all night long, and I really didn't feel like going to sleep, where God knows what they could do or would do to me. But I was so sleepy, so hard to keep my eyes open. So I don't know how long I slept, but it was the best sleep I ever had. It was a really deep sleep. It was so deep, in fact, that I was having a hard time waking up. I continued to doze off and on right up to the time my human came to get me. He carried me out to the car, and I was glad he was carrying me. I was still so dizzy and lightheaded, I didn't think I could have walked that far. It was getting darker when he got me, so I knew I had been there all day. I sure hoped we wouldn't make a habit of this. I understood that we dogs sleep a lot as far as humans are concerned, but when we sleep, we are always alert. Our hearing and our smelling never turn off, even though our eyes are shut. But that doctor gave me something that shut everything down. And dogs, we don't like being that sleep. We don't like not being alert. We don't like losing our edge. I was taken home, where they laid me down on a special bed they had made for me with food and water close by. I lay there and was getting more alert all the time, but I was hurting. My stomach was hurting. Not a queasiness or nausea, but a real hurt, a sharp pain. I didn't know what the doctor had done, but whatever it was, he hurt me. The only real blessing, as far as I could see, was that my humans were being kind to me, especially kind. And even Bo was being thoughtful and tender. E.T., he was just being his same little obnoxious self. It was late when my human came to me and sat down on the floor next to me. I liked it when he did that, just him and me. We had a special bond which was becoming stronger all the time. He sat there scratching me behind the ears. Speaking softly, he said, "Well, Murphy girl, I imagine you're not feeling so well right now." "You think?" "I'm sorry we had to do that, but all the animals that live here get spayed or neutered." I wasn't sure what that meant. He continued, "You can't have puppies now, and in a way, that's a real shame. You're a wonderful dog, and your puppies would have been beautiful. And you know, Murphy, you're a really smart dog. You're smarter than most. Your pups would probably have been just as smart, too. I may regret this decision someday, but I really think it was for the best. There are just too many unwanted dogs in the world, and I can't take them all in. In fact, the 2.5 we have is pretty well our limit." He was calling E.T. half a dog, and I thought that was funny, but when I laughed, it hurt. So I kept it under control, and I tried not to laugh. "Murphy, there are just too many irresponsible people out there. They let their dogs breed with no thought about what they are going to do with the pups until they outgrow that cute puppy stage. Then they try real hard to give them to friends, and what they can't give away end up being taken to the pound or dumped somewhere. The only thing worse you can do to a dog than take them to the pound is to dump them somewhere. Dogs are abandoned and left homeless, neglected, or abused. There's nothing worse to see than a homeless dog. They're usually half-starved. You can see their bones trying to stick through their mangy hide. They're hard to help because they're usually scared of people, and rightly so. And it's so tragic to see that once noble and proud beast, which is a part of the dog family, that family that has been so much a part of our lives, be reduced to such a state. He deserves so much more from us. So, Murphy, that's why we can't let you ever have puppies. We just can't have a part in bringing more dogs into the world when there aren't enough good homes for the ones we have already. He was silent for a while, still gently scratching me. I don't know why I take the time to talk to you like this, explaining myself to you. It's not as if you understand anything I say, but sometimes I do wonder. As he got up to leave, I wanted to tell him that I did understand. I understood it all, and I wanted to tell him it was all right. But there was no need to try to tell him anything. For all his good traits, and he had many, my human, like most others, had never even tried to learn dog speak. Good night, Murphy. You'll feel better tomorrow. With that, he left the room. He was wrong. I felt better already. That's the end of chapter 6.